This is a new video for me, but let's try it. When it comes to love, it's a difficult one because one of the things that is the hardest for, I think, women to accept is when they give their whole heart to a situation, to a man, to a woman, whatever your preference is. And it's just not enough. In your mind, you would have done anything to keep that relationship going. You would have sacrificed parts of yourself. You would have maybe even told your parents off if that was an issue with the relationship. You would have told your friends off. You would have justified poor behavior. You would have accepted less. You would have compromised on your boundaries. You would have made lifestyle accommodations. You would have moved. You would have maybe even given up your career. Women answer love problems based on emotion. Emotion makes us say yes. Emotion is like, I love him. Like it's a Kevin Hart thing, in case any of you haven't seen What Now. Emotion makes us say yes. Emotion is like, yes, I love him. I do anything for him, because I truly believe all women want is to love and be loved, to stand by and to be stood by, to support and to be supported. And when we have such a future-focused, solution-oriented viewpoint of a relationship, and when a man doesn't, in our minds, like, we were willing to do anything to make it work. But when they didn't, a part of us kind of broke inside. Because for you, wasn't even an option. Obviously we're together. Obviously I love you. Obviously we're going to have problems, but obviously we're going to work through it. And when the man answers with more logical responses and reactions, we look at their limitations and we don't understand their reasonings. We don't understand the excuses. We don't understand their justifications, because we are actually focused on how to make this work long term. And when a man isn't focused in that manner, and when he has reasonings and when he has excuses, it shows that he's not actually planning for the future in ways that we are. And so our hearts, our minds, our bodies energetically shut down. And now all of a sudden they don't trust love as much. They don't trust men as much, or women, whatever your preference is. And it causes you to feel off, because although we're not being chased by dinosaurs anymore, the body and the mind come together to protect us from danger. And the emotions that we feel in these types of experiences are challenging. And so, although we're not being chased by a dinosaur, we're definitely being posed emotionally from a nervous system space of potential threat. And when it comes to that type of scenario, because the brain doesn't have discernment, now it will do everything to protect you from that threat. Even though love doesn't really pose a ton of threat like how a dinosaur would. The problem is we internalize stories now, and our brain starts to look for what caused this. And when it looks for what caused this and it doesn't really comprehend the man's limitations, the opposite party's limitations, the thing is, then it goes and it takes the reasoning of why this happened to be us. That we weren't good enough. That maybe, we weren't compromising enough, that maybe we were unrealistic, that maybe love just doesn't work out for us, that maybe what I want is not available. And we use it to almost victimize ourselves into a more disempowering story. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is that you and I want so much more out of love. You and I want so much more out of love. And so in order to get more out of love, you've got to be willing to bare your soul, but also have your back when things don't work out. To also not go back to a disempowering narrative when things don't work out, and to just see the blockages or the experiences as learning lessons. Because I do believe everything is brought to us for a reason, for a lesson, for a greater lesson to learn. And that if we're still attracting people, places, or situations that are not in alignment, it's probably to show us that we're still hanging on to some type of disempowering story about what's possible for us or how love can be for us. And the truth of the matter is, I can't hold into my identity that all men are terrible and where is the love of my life? Like, these are just conflicting stories. And whether we like it or whether we don't, us as women, in order to become our most feminine, magnetic, fruitful self, we've got to get to a place where we're so good with or without that the presence or absence of someone else doesn't make us doubt ourselves, doubt the process, doubt love as a whole. To know that we're amazing and worthy and wonderful and incredible no matter what. A little bit of a more personal, vulnerable share, which I don't really do on my page, is there have definitely been times in my romantic relationships in the past where I have faced racism from the opposite party's parents. And it hurt. It hurt, bro. Because, like, I can't really change who I am. You know, that's a hard one. And I personally feel, as someone who is very self-reflective and self-aware, that it comes from the fact that when I was a little girl, I always sought validation through my parents. I always wanted to make my parents proud. And the way to make them proud was through my academics, because education was so important for them, because they did not have that. So they always drummed into my brain, education is the key to success. Education is the key to success. And so there was no one that was going to be a better student than me. There was no girl that was going to work harder to prove, make her parents proud than me. And every relationship, there's always been something to do with, who I am just not being correct. To a point where one time I was seeing someone, and his mother literally said, I can't believe I'm saying this on TikTok. I just feel very called to speak of some of my struggles because I know it'll help someone somewhere. But please don't go posting this and telling my parents about it. Thank you very much. I remember him being on FaceTime with his mom, and his mom being very, very, very racist and very orthodox and very old school, and we both came from different backgrounds and different races and different religions. And I am part Indian, Persian from my father's side, and Caucasian from my mother's side. So, and I still remember this, as clear as day, where she said, Indians are not meant to be your wives. She can clean your toilet, but she will never be your bride. What's crazy about that is it affected me for a really long time. But what's crazy about that is I'm 10 times more successful than he is. I literally am a millionaire. I make $1 million. And no matter what I do, it's not enough. And I'm saying this for people who can relate, because I personally believe I could use that thing to disempower me. But a part of me was like, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to be so successful. But if you don't deal with the insecurities on your way leading up to success in love, money, business, anything, those same insecurities will be with you at the top. And I believe that's not a prize, it's a punishment. Until Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am doing a flash sale for the program that's going to change your love life forever and get you to heal from the inside out, to get men to want you, adore you, choose you, wife you up. We're manifesting our husbands this year with up to $1,000 off. DM me for more info. Strategy call in the bio.